Okay, now, we're looking at food making it to the stomach. We're looking at food making it to the stomach. Now, let's just think in our everyday lives. You go to a very nice restaurant and you really eat a lot of food. It goes down the esophagus, and the mouth and esophagus really don't do a whole lot. Well, the mouth does a little bit of digestion, mechanical and chemical. The esophagus is just continuing what the mouth did. Remember, there's no enzymes being produced in the esophagus. It's just a transport. So all of that goes into the stomach. But remember, in the stomach, you need to put it all in the stomach so you can close the door to the stomach so you don't send stuff back up with that acid. So everything you ate at a meal, even if you're talking and doing all kind of stuff, needs to get in that stomach and then work on it. But the stomach needs to close everything off. Now that can be a lot of food, depending on if you're having a real tasty meal you've been wanting. So how does the stomach handle all that food and then close the door? Well, the stomach, up to a certain extent, stretches to accommodate the incoming food. The stomach relaxes as the food comes to kind of expand in a relaxation. Okay? Kind of expands in a relaxation. So it's kind of like a balloon. Think about a balloon versus one of the plastic paper bags that you would get from the grocery store. In a balloon, if you put water in the balloon, then the balloon would try to stretch out and not get too tight until you really got it too full. But those plastic bags would be snapping on you. They don't have as good of compliance. Now remember what compliance was. Matter of fact, we've done respiratory. Change in volume over change in pressure. Change in volume over change in pressure. That's where we did the leather pouch deal and the balloon deal. So the stomach is trying to relax. We call it a receptive relaxation. A receptive relaxation, coordinated by swallowing the center of the brain stem, the vagus. Serotonin, remember serotonin relaxed the stomach. Nitric oxide, all of these substances here try to relax that stomach. It has plasticity. Stress relaxation response. The stomach, how volume increases because there are folds of mucus. See, the stomach, remember, had all those folds in it. They flatten out. So when they flatten out and get tight, flat. If more than a liter is taken, intragastric pressure increases and person experiences discomfort. So there is a certain amount before it starts to get too much. See how this stomach starts to stretch out there? Starts to stretch out. And remember, this is the storage spot, the fundus. Okay. All right. So we go further. Small rippling waves in the body and fundus of the stomach where good food storage digestion occur. Body and fundus. Okay. When waves get stronger in pyloric antrum, see the antrum's down here. The pyloric region, which holds about 30 cc's in the pyloric region, acts as a dynamic filter that allows only liquids and small particles to pass through the barely open pyloric sphincter during digestive process. Normally, each peristaltic wave reaching the pyloric muscle squirts, as I mentioned before, about 3 cc's or less of chyme into the small intestine. Because the contraction also closes the pipe, which is normally partially digested, the rest, if you recall, I said turns back and goes back. So if it hits it at the time it's closed, you'll go back and get further time to work on this food. Remember I mentioned that way earlier. Gastric contractile activity. The intensity of peristaltic waves can be changed, but the rate is about 3 waves per minute. So the magnitude of the waves can change, but the rate is constant, about 3 waves per minute. Pacemaker cells, called cells of Codgel, these are neuromuscular, located in the longitudinal muscle layer, automatically depolarize and repolarize this, known as the basic electrical rhythm. So in other words, the stomach will do about 3 waves per minute. set by the pacemaker cells. Cells are just like in the heart in a way. The smooth muscle cells are connected by gap junction to the rest of the muscularis. See, the gap junctions allows, just like with the heart, remember with the heart had gap junctions to give you a coordinated contraction because cells can only get so big, kind of like what we called in the heart a syncytium, to give a coordinated, because if one side's floppy and the other's not, you'll never move anything. So about 3 per minute. The pacemakers set the maximum rate of contraction, but they do not initiate the contractions. What initiates it is the nerves and everything. They generate subthreshold depolarization waves, which are then ignited by neural and hormonal effects. See, if they did the whole thing, they would be doing it even when food is not in there. Think about it, even when food's not. So they are ready to go. They give a subthreshold depolarization. So the food coming in, stimulating the neurological, the extrinsic neurological from the stomach, and stimulating the hormones, takes it to threshold, then they go out. So the thing about it, they don't initiate, because if they initiate it, then even if the stomach was empty, they'd be doing it all the time. Factors that increase the strength are the same factors that enhance stomach secretions. Remember when I said that when we did that stomach secretions, it's at 57, and I came in way back up here, and I said that I was going to put digestion, because I said it also had to do with mechanical too, just like secretion. Okay, we go back. Okay, so gastric, most vigorous near the pylorus. So it starts slow, because see, up in here you want things to go slow where you have time to mix with the enzymes and all the stuff like that and break it up from a bolus to chyme. But as you get down here, you're almost through, so the contractions go stronger. The contractions also are going stronger to try to push you through into this area to get it out of the stomach. Deliver it in 3 milliliter spurts, we mentioned. Force back if the door is closed, because this opens and closes. Okay, so that's that picture you have there. All right, we're going further. Regulation of gastric emptying. The stomach usually empties completely in about 4 hours after a meal. The larger the meal, the more stomach distension, the more liquid the meal, the faster it empties. The larger the meal and the more liquid, it empties faster because it's more stretched. Fluids pass quickly through the stomach. Solids take longer. They need to be processed. The rate of gas depends not only on the stomach, but just as much on the small intestine, because remember, it's giving inhibitory signals that we talked about. As chyme enters the duodenum, receptors respond to stretch and chemical signals. The enterogastric reflex sends a signal back. Okay. Carbohydrate-rich chyme moves quickly through the duodenum. Okay. Fatty chyme remains for 6 or more hours. See, fat takes more time to digest, because remember, you have to emulsify it. It has to go into the lymphatics. It's a lot more work on fat. So a carbohydrate-rich meal can go fairly quickly, like, piece of cake or something. Gastric entering. Carbohydrate moves quickly through the fatty chyme, remains longer. Okay, I'm going to come over here now. Had some pictures here. That's the ligament of Treitz. I'm not interested in that right now. Okay, that's this. We'll go a little further here. So we go here, gastric emptying. Okay. Now, right here, vomiting and gastroparesis. Let's talk about that a little bit. Vomiting and gastroparesis. Vomiting is caused by many factors, with the most common being extreme stretching of the stomach intestines. Other factors are toxins, excess spicy foods. Both blood-borne molecules and sensory go to the emetic center. That's the vomit center in the medulla, and initiate this vomiting. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. Gastroparesis is a delayed gastric emptying. It's a medical condition called paralysis of the stomach. There are many things can do it. Diabetes can be responsible for it. Vagus nerve damage can be responsible for it. Many things that can slow stomach emptying. Causes, like I said, type 1, type 2 diabetes, autonomic nervous system neuropathies, things of this nature. Okay, you can look at this. This is my PowerPoint view. All right, so where we are now, we are ready now to start talking about the small intestine here. I want to start talking about the small intestine, and I'm going to start another video since we're getting ready to do the small intestine.